Hello everybody, it's great to be here, and this is a presentation that I've done on behalf of the Royal Medical Development Fund and entitled Surviving and Flourishing During Your Foundation Year. Why did I offer to do this? Simply because I've noticed as a practicing consultant occupational health in NHS now for over 25 years that sometimes the step that you make from being a medical student to being an F1 doctor can be tricky, can be somewhat not a straight line. And so with the years of experience I have, with the many different roles I have as a national training program director and as an educator at an undergraduate and postgraduate level, I just wanted to go and share my thoughts with you guys as you make that important step into the world of work. So does medical school prepare you to be a F1 doctor? Depends, if I'm honest with you, in my experience. Different medical schools have different ways of exposing you and for you to gain your experience. Okay, so you feel more comfortable with your first steps. And so where you've had more opportunities of taking active steps to work as healthcare assistants or undertake a shadowing program during your final year, where you're actively involved, you've been involved with the shift system, worked in the ED, etc., etc. I think you'll find it easier to make the transition where perhaps you're much more focused on academic success, worrying about all that stuff. I think you might find it a bigger step. Right, so what is it about, do I think? Well, I think you need to remember it's all about change, right? And change doesn't necessarily mean those who are most intelligent are able to make that transition. I find those who are able to respond to the changes, okay, are the ones who cope better, okay. And a talk I regularly give now at our medical school is that when you study to be a medical student, it's not about exam success we're studying for. It's about being a successful doctor who can work effectively as part of a team, has the capability, skills, and evolves their practice in a 24/7 shift-based healthcare system. Changes are not easy for any of us, and while you're going through these changes, there is this fluctuation of emotions that are normal. Okay, and again, I just want to make it clear that all of you, all foundation doctors, all doctors, even who are not foundation, are moving different hospitals, moving from a foundation core to a specialist training program to even become a consultant. There's change and transition, and you go through these kind of roller coaster of emotions which are entirely normal. Now, as an F1 doctor, these are my thoughts. What do you need to actually develop? What's the whole point of a foundation training program? Okay, and what it is you need to learn to fit within the networks of the systems. And as a foundation doctor, you know, you rotate, don't you, approximately every 4 months to different wards and different specialities. So you need to be a team player, need to be an excellent administrator. You learn that quite quickly. Time management and being able to email management helps you. Having the abilities and skill set and the desire to recognize that networking is what are your skills, both professionally with the different teams, because again, you're not just working with fellow foundation doctors, you're working with other grades of doctors, other specialities, nurses, physios, OTs, healthcare assistants, administrators, and mastering the IT skills, you know, e-prescribing, e-hospital discharge letters, even your e-portfolio. One of the things I do recognize is when I get referrals from the foundation programs, heads of school, is when doctors at your level don't engage because they're struggling with making the step of the work side of the job of being a doctor and not necessarily remembering there's a training learning side that you've got to prove as you go forward. Okay, so this is my big slide all about, you know, how do you actually survive your career? And it's about learning to swim is the analogy I use, which is why I've called this, you know, the PAS swimmer model. That's going to the physician structured strategic wellbeing investment model. It's about realizing that really the big themes you need to think about is training and learning, resting and recharging. What does training and learning mean? I mentioned already about teamwork. I think you need to appreciate, you need to reflect on your career plans and have some ideas where you ultimately want to go at some point. And again, you don't have to be a full-time doctor. Okay, clinically, I think you have the ability to do the clinical side, the teaching, research, management, committee membership, volunteering, etc., like I'm doing with the Royal Medical Benevolent Fund, that's what's going to help you as you go through your long-term career. Okay, and also if you want to survive burnout, the way I think about it is it's when you're doing the non-doctoring bits. It's all the bits I've put in here, writing poetry, maybe designing apps, being a competitive athlete, gaming, even knitting will help you to get time off not being a doctor. Academic exams from a postgraduate point of view still exist to get into your specialities, to get into your higher kind of training program. So you've got to adapt and learn. And remember, you're an employee of the trust. So by now understanding people around you, the policies, the procedures that are about you, for you as an employee, okay, that will help you as well. And as part of your adapting and learning, you may well find yourself needing to go into a coaching or mentoring group, and these are well accepted now at all levels, even especially registrars, consultants do it. So you as a foundation doctor need to recognize being part of a peer group is important. Now, resting and recharging, what is that about? Well, basically you got to have good friends and right friends and hopefully supportive family around you. And ultimately, if you can be in a safe space, a psychological safe space, when you're feeling a bit, I'm not really sure I'm coping with this, where you can share your ideas, your questions, and your concerns, and maybe I've made a mistake, and not feel guilty about it, and you're able to sense check your thoughts, that will help you. So you do need this kind of area, this psychological safe space. Got to eat and drink, don't forget to do that, and recognize that other tools, the kind of the biological tools, the mindfulness, the breath work, if you spiritual belief systems, these will all help you. Doctors are all very competitive and sporty, and ultimately, so again, do it on your own, do it as part of a group, do it virtually, do it in the real world, and tap into your creative side. By that I mean, don't forget to get involved in art, music, listen, play, watch films, and finally do try to get some sleep where you can. You don't have to party 24/7. It's a job now, you're not a student anymore, so we need to look at those things going forward. Right, now remember, we all have baggage when you come into medicine, and there's this kind of mental capital we have, the investment of who we are in our personal banks is important. And this slide kind of reminds us that these kind of mental health survival banks and interest we keep in ourselves will change over our lifespan. So this slide kind of tries to explain that quite succinctly. Right, so what do most doctors think about well-being? They think, well, long as I've got some money, okay, and I've got a job and I'm happy in it, and my job stimulates me, I think I'm going to be fine. I should be happy. Okay, that's true. But if you truly want to be happy, you've got to remember, you've got to tap into the emotional side, okay? And you cope with life, you've got to have satisfying relationships around you. You've got to appreciate the geographical and the environment around you, physically look after yourself, have the real meaningful social connections, and have a spirituality means to have an idea, a sense of purpose of who we are philosophically and where we're going to go. Those are things I think doctors forget to do and just focus on the 3 highlighted points in this slide. Now, there is a lot of support for you out there, remember, wherever you are as a foundation doctor, and I've just highlighted some of them. I think it's important to take a preventative approach, and server cloud in some trusts is something you just self-help computerized CBT programs. NHS offers a mind plan. Again, it's all free. And he just gives you, say, well, this is how to look after yourself. There's a tool from Australia called My Compass as well. NHS England give you support plans as well. Finances, a bit of a worrying time, I think, for a lot of doctors when they become F1s and F2s, because it's all travelling and cars and renting and stuff like that. The Royal Benevolent Fund has so many resources to help you, okay, and I've identified extra resources through government schemes. If you have some doctors will have mental health issues, you're entitled to it. There's a recent booklet produced about low income, etc. So what I'm trying to point out to you, there's a lot of support for you. You don't have to suffer in silence. Please access the resources that are there for you. Right, now, sometimes you'll struggle. And, I'm a doctor. I should be surviving. I should be stronger. And I'm clever. Well, actually, you are clever, but you need to talk to somebody. Okay, and who do you talk to? Well, that's the whole point. You have clinical education supervisors. They're particularly trained to take a pastoral perspective of your situation. So talk to these guys. Now, in where I work in Leicester, we have in-house employment advisory psychological services. You probably have those existing in your organization. There's people called Freedom to Speak Up if you're particularly feeling stressed, maybe even bullied. Okay, these are organizations as well. And again, recently, Sexual Health Charter is prevalent throughout the NHS as well. Don't forget to register with the GP. There'll be regional services of pastoral support service that you get referred to. BMA, don't even have to be a member of the BMA. Free counselling service and the Practitioner Health Programme as well. But certainly the Royal Medical Development Fund offers you support in that area with support service, mentoring and coaching as well. Now, occasionally, doctors feel overwhelmed about the whole situation, about making that transition, and feel that they're going to have a meltdown, or they feel they're going to burn out, and they may find them having fleeting thoughts of suicidal ideation. This slide clearly points out to you there's so much support for you, and it's confidential. So again, access them. Shout service. Your trust may have its own internal services. There's one-on-one service. There'll be regional mental health crisis teams. Even if you have, and hopefully, if you've got an effective occupational health service, ideally in-house with accredited specialists, like I am in the Leicester region, who have a clear understanding of your journey, we're there to support you as well. There's a lot of other services here I've pointed out, Samaritans, etc. Papyrus, under 35 telephone support lines. Please access them. They're there to help you, and they do work. Right, now these are my thoughts, when I see a foundation doctor. Okay, maybe I'm involved because I've had a referral, because there's concerns about performance or conduct or attendance. What I've noticed, if the doctor in front of me is connected, understands their career change and have ideas where they want to go, that's helpful. If they're open to new ideas, if they have safety nets around them, if they recognize, I need to be part of a team player, and they show potential to learn, they recognize that I've got certain health issues or performance or behavioral issues, they could have an impact on my patients, my colleagues, and if they're offered therapeutic activity, be it psychological therapy or pharmaceutical therapy, and they actually take it, then the acronym I use is INSIGHT. They have an awareness, and I know if these are the foundation doctors I'm involved with, they're going to do really well in the future. Okay, so this is just some ideas and thoughts I have. Now, what really is the journey of a doctor? Well, I think we need to appreciate it's not easy, not a straight line. And your life should be longer than your job as a doctor. And during that period of life, okay, you may well develop certain health issues, recurrent issues or chronic issues, as I pointed a few examples there. And there's nothing wrong. You can balance that tension between having a real happy personal life and having a successful career. But recognize reality of being a human being is whatever job you're going to get, whatever life you're going to have, there's going to be this kind of friction, sometimes tension in your life between what you want to do and what your health or your relationship prevents you from doing. Okay, again, this is normal. And ultimately, what I want you to remember is you are a human being. You're not just a number, foundation F1 training with a particular number or a core training, etc. You're entitled to, and you need to explore and actively plan for a family life, a positive, supportive family life. Nobody's going to give it to you. The way you invest in your medical career to be successful in your undergraduate exams and your plans to have this career in the future and postgraduate exams, etc., where you want to work, you actively invested in that. Okay, you need to put a bit of effort in yourself as well, but actively investing in your personal life, your family life, career life. You've got to have aspirations, you've got to have ideas. Okay, it's like a PDP for your personal life. You need to do that, smart objectives. And during that journey, yes, you'll need to do your best to keep yourself healthy And if you do develop some health problems, disability, do not worry about it, because as you go from your cradle of your career to the end of your life, that whole lifespan period, okay, is there's so much support for you, but nobody can read you. Okay, you have to ask for help. Now, what are my words of wisdom? Okay, it's going to be up and down. All foundation doctors go for the same thing. Some are very vocal about it, some of them less vocal. Opportunity to make friendship circles. Okay, don't forget to eat and drink and have some fun when you're not a doctor. Work as part of a team. Realize there's a support system, and you really do need to engage in that portfolio, or your clinical supervisors and foundation doctors will be, pulling your ears and saying, "Well, what's going on?" Right now, ultimately, you are entitled to have a full, enjoyable, and a happy life. And in order to do that, you need to invest in yourself a bit more in your health and well-being. And you can evolve and emerge as being the best person, the best version of you in all aspects of your life. I wish you the best and have a happy career.